I was walking through the mall yesterday. I don't know why. I don't know why I subject myself to walking through malls. It's not a pleasant experience because there's other people there. There's people all over the place in the mall. They're walking in all different directions. They don't follow traffic patterns. It's just people bumping into you. They've got somewhere to go. They're all rushing to nowhere. It's not a great experience for a person like me. Anyway, I passed this little area where they have a long bench, and there's this guy on his knees facing these men who are sitting on a bench. And I thought, well, that looks pretty weird. This guy's on his knees facing these men sitting down. And I thought, oh, wow, this is not unmall-like. It's unmall-like. So I get a little bit closer, and I see that it's a shoe shine thing, where apparently, I don't understand this, apparently guys feel at a certain point in their lives that their shoes are getting a little dirty. So they sit down on this bench, and this guy who gets on his knees facing these seated men, it doesn't look right from certain angles. Let's put it that way. But this guy, this shoe shiner guy, he's like a middle-aged man, probably about 50 years old. I don't think he can get up off his knees if he wanted to without some help. And he's rubbing back and forth on these people's shoes, making them really shiny and stuff. And I'm saying to myself, why? What? As soon as you get up and walk away from this thing, you're going to be walking through the mall. You're going to get scuffed up again. I haven't really paid attention to my shoes since 1827. I'm not that old. I'm just making a point. What do you do? Shoes are like real close to the ground. They touch things. They bang into things. They're utilitarian for men. For women, it's different. For men, shoes are a vehicle for their feet. They just walk around, they knock into things, they step in mud, they step in crap if they have dogs. They get dirty, drop food on them, paint gets on them. They're utilitarian. Women's shoes are a fashion statement. Ooh, that's totally different. They have to match their kneecaps, they have to match their skirt, their lipstick, they've got to match the color of the door on their house. I mean, and they have to be shiny, and the heels have to be propped up to the certain level, and and women have to have like 50 or 60 pairs of shoes. You have to have a shoe for every occasion. Ooh, I blew my nose. Oh my God, I just sneezed. I've got to change my shoes. It's amazing. Men, they wear shoes until there's holes in them. Very similar to underpants for men. They will wear underpants until there's holes in them. What's the point of replacing them? Holes in underpants are just a means of aeration. But not for women. For women, everything has to be immaculate, and I wouldn't say perfect, but damn close to it. So when you say to me, Ron, what's the difference between men and women? Is it the penis? Is it the vagina? Is it the breasts? Is it what is it? What's the difference? It's the shoes. It's the shoes. Don't kid yourself. It's the shoes.
On the air everywhere, this is New England Broadcasting.
Welcome to the Ron Van Dam Show. Hold on tight. Things can get a bit weird, if you like that sort of thing.
It's the shoes.
Whatever.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Good night. It's the Ron Van Dam Show.
Thank you very much.
Sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, whatever your liquid libation may be in the morning, and join us as we take a look at the world around us. As much as it's a pleasure to be with you, the pleasure is actually all yours. And now, here's your host, Ron Van Dam.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the program. I want you to relax. Sit back in a chair, put your feet up, take your shoes off, as a matter of fact. I think I've talked about shoes enough for quite a period of time. It should suffice my conversation about shoes forever. Just relax. If you're sitting in your car, don't take anything off. Just drive. Just drive. I will spend an appreciable amount of time with you to the point where you'll probably say, that's quite enough. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, but that's quite enough. Speaking of quite enough, I don't know if you're following what's going on outside of your own little world, but there's a president called Trump. I don't know how that happened, but it's sometimes it's funny and entertaining, and sometimes it's scary. Now it's a little bit of both. Yesterday, in the Oval Office, Trump invited the press into the Oval Office, and he spoke to Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, who are the heads of the two congressional branches there, the House of Representatives and the Senate. Are you following me? Trump went off on a tirade again, and this is because he doesn't drink. I'm telling you, if the guy just had a sip of alcohol every once in a while, it might balance him out a little bit, or it could be really dangerous. I don't know which. But he acts like this completely straight. That's scary. Anyway, so as you know, Trump wanted to build a wall across the Mexican border. Because he's a builder, and this is what he wanted to do, and he thinks that he won the presidency based on this. No, you won the presidency by lying, cheating, being delusional, holding information back, and colluding with the Russians. That's how you won, Don. And he knows it. He knows it. Anyway, so Trump says that if he doesn't get the funding to build his wall, sounds like a 5-year-old kid. If I don't get the candy, then I'm going to have it fit. That's my impression of him, by the way. It didn't sound anything like him. Don said that if he doesn't get the funding to build the wall, which is billions and billions and billions of dollars, I think it's $3 billion. I mean, why didn't they come to me? I would have given it to him. Anyway, Trump says that if he doesn't get the money to build his wall, then he's going to shut down the government. I kind of laughed for a second, and I thought, are you digging your own grave, Don? Did you somehow get your own shovel in order to impeach yourself and to make yourself the strangest person on the planet? Take some advice, Don. Whenever you have an idea that pops into your head, go this route.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Really? Just shut up.
Shut up!
It's like counting sheep. You should be shouting shut-ups. You should be quiet. Just be quiet. God. Well, you are listening to the Ron Van Dam Show. We do this every single weekday. So if you're new to the program, where the hell you been? I mean, we're on like everything. We're on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, the Podbean Network, SoundCloud, YouTube every single day with a new episode, NewEnglandBroadcasting.com, the Alexa thing that you have in your room where she listens in and records conversations so you can be indicted of any crime. It's all there. Let me introduce some of the people that make this show possible. I stop in every once in a while. John Shanahan writes the comedy on this program, does the comedy commercials, the introductions. He's a brilliant, brilliant writer. We're happy to have him with us. Jason Shaw actually writes the music that's performed on this program. You're listening to him right now. Thank you, Jason. You got Nicole Reed. She's the British voice that you hear at the beginning of the program, and she books much of the national talent that we have on the program and some of the interviews. And that's just a little taste of what's in my mouth. The holiday season is upon us, and it's just about time to do holiday shopping. And as I alluded to the subject at the beginning of the program by walking through a mall, which is a foolish thing for me to do, I was trying to get into the holiday spirit because in malls they play that annoying holiday music. I mean, it's not really annoying. More than half an hour of holiday music is... It turns into torture. There's a fine line between enjoyment and torture. And when you've crossed that line, you know it. So I don't know why I did this to myself. I thought if I walked through a mall, I would get into the spirit, and all I did was get bumped into by other people. I've never heard so many excuse me's in my life. Excuse me, excuse me, sorry, excuse me. It's annoying. I didn't get into it, man. I don't get into the holiday thing until a week before any given holiday. And then I start to panic. And I do rather well when I panic. That was my whole time in school. I did nothing in school. As I've said so many times, my last name begins with a V. So that automatically puts me in the back of the classroom, seating-wise. I was also like 6 feet tall when I was 13 years old. So, again, back of the room for you, Ron. So I was always in the back of every classroom, which was a godsend because I don't like being in the front ever. I don't know what to do. I need a lot of people in front of me to do things first before it gets to me, so by the time it gets to me, I've observed as to what I'm supposed to do. That was the way I made it through school. I loved being in the back. I daydreamed like crazy. Oh my God. Any possible scenario that can occur at any given time, anywhere in the world, I thought of by sitting in the back of the classroom. My life was consumed by my imagination, and I learned that by sitting in school in the back of rooms. It didn't matter which room it was in. It could have been a large study hall, a history class, and a math class, whatever. I just vegetated in my own world in the back of the room. It was wonderful. I set up a special relationship between me and the clock on the wall. We made a lot of eye contact. I wasn't listening to what was going on in the classroom. I was just interested in the clock. There was a second hand on the clock, which was fun because you could watch time go by. And at that time in my life, I wanted time to go by. I wanted time to go by very quick. Yeah, I do radio. I know, Ron. You can't even talk. Why are you doing radio? I know. I totally understand that. I would watch the seconds just tick by, and I would think they couldn't move fast enough. I couldn't wait to be 21, be on my own, have my own place, nobody telling me what to do, choosing my own career, just being free. So I couldn't wait for that time to go fast enough, and if it went fast enough, then school would be over, and I could leave that godforsaken hellhole. I was not a school kind of guy. I didn't do horribly in school, but I didn't do well either. Because the only time I applied myself was when the bell rang and it was time to get up and leave. Then I applied myself very, very quickly and left the building. And then I turned 21, and all of a sudden, I wanted time to slow down. All right, that's enough. Now it's moving too quickly. All that stuff I said to the clock on the wall, like hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, I take it back. Slow it down. Slow it down. Then I hit 30 years old. Ooh. Now I wanted time not just to slow down, but to freeze. You know, it was like a game show. Okay, I'm going to freeze here. You can't freeze. It doesn't freeze. It doesn't stop. I've tried everything. I've tried taking clocks and throwing them on the ground and smashing them, thinking that time would stop. But it didn't. There are other clocks. And then I figured out that simply because the clock is moving has nothing to do with the earth moving, and I can't stop that. So time just keeps going. That's the sad part. So Ron, what's the happy part? There isn't any. Food, that's the happy part. Food and sex, those are the happy parts. That's it. What about success and getting along with people? No, it's food and sex. What are you kidding yourself for? Don't you understand? Enjoy them. Food and sex, not necessarily in that order, any order you want. Sometimes it's in one order, sometimes it's in the other. Coming up later in the program, I'm switching topics, by the way, in case you didn't notice. Maybe you drifted off and you weren't even aware of what was going on. It's certainly feasible. We're going to be speaking rather soon to Elesia Carey. We do this every Wednesday. Elesia Carey, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this because we don't talk about it, but professionally, she's a fashion designer. She's one of the leading fashion designers in New York City, in my estimation, certainly. And she's right there in the center of Manhattan, and every once in a while she'll be in a coffee shop or something and watching life go by, and we chat. We do Chit Chat. This show emanates out of the Boston area. So I'm still rather urban, not like Keith Urban, but I am urban. But she's right in the heart of it. So it's a guy and a girl talking about social stuff, the things we go through in our lives as we try to mix and meld into society, which isn't always easy to do. To me, the people around me are not there for useful purposes. They are somehow just accoutrements in a large world. There are people that can get in your way. It's almost like get out of the way. Don't bother me unless I ask you to bother me. Then it's fine. Yeah, I'm very picky. I'm picky. I am. A lot of things bother me. I don't know. Not my fault. Blame it on my parents. By the way, anytime there's something wrong with you, just blame it on your parents. It's easy because they brought you up. If you were lucky to have two parents, some people don't even have that. Any way that you are, any deficiency you think you may have, blame it on your parents. Had nothing to do with you. It's your parents. It's the way you were brought up. It's a weight off your shoulders when you do that. Not necessarily true, but it's a built-in excuse. You can use it at any time. If someone says to you, you're a very weird, picky person. No, I'm not. It's my parents. My parents were weird and picky. I was fine. And then I lived with them through childhood. Now I'm weird and picky. It's not me. It's my parents. Never tell your parents, though. And don't let that come up in conversation. We heard from one of your friends that you told them that we were weird and picky when we were raising you, and that's why you're weird and picky. Is that true? Oh, no. I would have never said that. Oh, no. There must be a misunderstanding. I would never say that about my lovely parents who are absolutely perfect. All right, Melissa, where did that name come from? Elesia Carey is going to join us momentarily. Yeah, Do you ever get frustrated about the people around you like I do? I have a remedy.
Are you aware that 1 in every 7 Americans is in desperate need of a dope slap? Studies show that every 17 seconds in America someone writes, says, or does something so incredibly stupid that they deserve to be slapped, and you can help. If someone you know commits an act of boneheaded stupidity, simply extend your hand with the palm facing to the side, draw your arm back, and deliver a sharp, solid blow straight across their forehead. It's called a dope slap. It only takes a moment to perform, but the lesson can last a lifetime. This has been a message from the American Dope Slap Association and Metro South Podcasting.
True that. Okay. Coming up this weekend, we're going to be talking to one of the most influential people in the hemp industry. And you're saying, Ron, hemp, huh? Yeah. Most of you know what hemp is, and it's got a reputation for being a hallucinatory situation. It's not necessarily, and it really isn't. We're going to be talking to the leading agricultural person involving the hemp industry and how it is about to blossom in this very country with some very, very interesting applications. And we'll be doing that over the weekend. But right now, it's time for the Elesia Carey episode. And it is time for Chit Chat with Elesia Carey. She joins us now in New York City. I'm just outside of Boston, and there's somebody probably living somewhere in
between.
In between. Okay. We're going to talk about friendships and what they are. And are you in a coffee house?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, that's cool. So you're surrounded by actual people.
I am. I don't drink coffee anymore, but I needed tea, so forgive me. I hope the background's not too loud.
No, actually, it makes it quite authentic. As a matter of fact, if anybody around you is, they're probably all listening to you anyway, as they usually do, without
they usually are. Yeah,
without you knowing it. Are you in a? Is it a Starbucks? May I ask?
Oh my gosh, you're close. What are you, clairvoyant? ESPN? What are you?
Well,
what's going on?
I am ESPN. Well, there's only two of them, and there's only two coffee shops really in the world.
Well, this one is actually not. I'm not going to say anything disparaging.
No.
Today is Monday, and
Certainly.
so all I'm going to say is no. I'm at a. I have a couple of coffee shops that I prefer, but this one is actually a Whole Foods.
Yes.
Part Whole Foods, part coffee shop. I needed some yogurt and what have you, and they have which I like.
Yes.
This is what they have. They have a coffee area that is right next to the street, so it's a full glass.
Oh, so you can watch people go by.
Exactly, and talk to you on the phone. I mean, it does not get better than that.
It does. Well, winning the lottery might be close to that. But you're right. But other than that, no. Other than that,
small
no.
Victories,
Small. So we're talking about friendships today, and that's interesting because it's a time of year where you cultivate them. You throw some water on the friendships, and you send people cards, and you might even hook up with them, like, hey, let's get together, and then you never hear from them again. You know?
Yeah, you're right.
So
this is the season. You're right.
Yeah.
You know what, Ron? That's why I like you, because sometimes a lot of times you say some stuff that makes me think, you're right. This is a season to cultivate. Like throughout the year, we water them, birthdays, anniversaries, whatever. And at Christmas time, we kind of reap the benefits, if you will.
True.
You know, presents or gatherings or dinners or what have you.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. It is a season.
It is the season. Tis the season. It's also the only time of year that you use the word tis.
True, without looking without somebody looking at you like
Right,
you're from ye old. What is that? That's from your neck of the woods, right? Back in the day,
Yes.
Bostonians,
Yes.
right after the Mayflower. Look at me. I went
Right
to school.
after the
Believe it or not,
Mayflower.
I graduated someplace. Right after the Mayflower.
Right after the Mayflower.
Right after the Mayflower situation.
Is that land that I see? It is.
It is. Land ho.
Land ho, tis. Anyway, okay. Well, all right.
Go ahead.
So friendships.
We're off the
See, I think that, I mean, friendships are wonderful, and some of them are lifelong, and some of them are weeks long. It doesn't matter. But I think that we've bastardized the phrase friendship, and
Correct.
And that's kind of where I'm coming from, and it's
agree.
that damn Facebook thing again.
Well, it's that, and it's other things too. I'm telling you right now. Okay, I live in this big city, and Boston is a big city.
Yeah.
You know, we're all pretty near very big cities, and I'm not saying, but even then, I think it's people in not just social media, but even in cities like this, people will glom on to who they have to glom on to.
Yes.
And it's the friendship box is not really checked, but they'll call you. You know, you'll meet somebody, they'll call you a friend. And it's so funny. My dad, may he rest in heaven, he used to say to me, he had 2 friends. That's what he said to me. And my dad had like a lot of friends. I'm like, Dad, how can you have 2 friends? He goes, I have 2 friends and the rest are acquaintances.
Yes.
He says, trust me. And I used to think, well, that's pretty rough. But, you know, that's his definition. But I have to tell you something. I like what you said. The word friendship, we throw it around a lot. Not everybody deserves that word. And yes, and tis the season right now, you get to actually see if that friendship comes back to you or not in one way, but also on a daily way. But you tell me your stuff, because I've got a little bit more to say.
Well, I think that a certain generation is being brought up to feel that if you know somebody, then they're a friend, and they walk around saying to people, I have 500 friends on Facebook. But they actually start to believe that. They actually start to believe that my life is worth something because 500 people see what I do, and they like what I do. Yeah. And that is, I think it's a false sense of security. Not that people shouldn't feel secure, but they should feel more secure in themselves than they should in the fact that they've got 500 people that kind of don't even know who you are. And yet they're tagged as friends. And I just hope people know the difference between a friend and an acquaintance, as you've brought up.
Okay. And once again, you're right. You're just so on point today. I don't know what's going on with you. You got to run for president.
I'm busy.
You should be working more on yourself and loving yourself as opposed to working on securing 500 likes.
There you go.
You should be, and I'm going to tell you something, because we can be honest with each other and everybody else who's listening.
Yes.
That's what I've learned the last couple of years. I'm going to tell you, I was part of that equation where if 50 people showed up for my birthday party, I felt that I had 50 friends.
Yes.
But I did not. I had 50 people who were coming for food and free drinks. But it wasn't necessarily because of what their affection is for me. So yes, I had to learn. I learned that the hard way. And if I have anything to say to anybody this year, and is that friendship begins, you cultivate yourself, your own self-love, versus trying to cultivate 500 Facebook, 5,000 Facebook, or Instagram, or Twitter, or whatever. That's what you need to work on, because I've learned when it comes to friends, like you said, they're for a reason, a season, sometimes they're for a lifetime. But one of the true ways that you see a friend is a couple ways, 3 ways. Let me give you my top 3.
Sure.
1, when you're with them, they make you feel good. Believe it or not, when you don't feel happy or joyful in the presence of somebody,
True.
that's your inner voice telling you that this person is not for you. Okay.
Good.
2, when they contact you without a reason, meaning they're not contacting you for their financial reasons, they're not contacting you to share their burdens. They're just saying, how are you doing today? That's a friend.
Good point.
The third one is, what I think about a friend is, it is a situation where you feel that there is a symbiotic or two-way situation, meaning everybody benefits, meaning there's so many friendships where they're lopsided, where only one person benefits.
Yes.
But if you can see that both of you are benefiting, that is a friend.
Yes.
So those are like my top off my head 3
That's
what
good.
I
Very
consider
good.
to be friends. Go ahead.
That's very good. There's a situation I have with a guy who used to be on my show all the time. He's an attorney, and he's very Republican. And these days, that makes me very uncomfortable to bond with somebody who has a different mindset than I at this particular juncture in my life. Yes, right. And it is true. So,
it's true.
It is. So we kind of both said, yeah, fine, we have different outlooks on things. And we haven't really talked much in the space of the 2 years that I've been suffering politically. However, the times that we do talk, we both know without question that if I ever needed him, and not for lawyer purposes, but if I needed him and needed to talk or needed some direction or advice, he would be there for me, and vice versa. That's a different kind of friend. It's a foundation friend where
that's a good word. I like that.
Yeah, like that's a brother, that's a sister. We don't have to go back and forth with stuff all the time. We just know each other exists unconditionally. And that's an extremely comfortable feeling.
That's great. That's a great feeling. And I know it must warm the cockles of your heart.
I do have
can't
them.
say cockles. You can't say cockles every time of year either. So
No.
just throwing that out. But yes, I like that. I like that. I like what you call the foundational friend. I think, and those are not a lot of them, but yes, those are really good to have. They actually do make you feel good. Like I'm going to say that I have a foundational friend who is like my godmother, actually. But I do, I found it, and I don't mean to say this, but it's true sometimes, especially sometimes for women, because I am one. I'm just going to throw that out.
Okay,
sometimes people attach themselves to you for reasons, and I thought I had a foundational friend, and it turns out I didn't, and that really made me. That's where I started the last 2 years of examining and cutting away, in all honesty, those who are in my life.
Yes.
And I have a 90-year-old foundational friend, one of them, and she's like my godmother. And the thing I like about her is, and what makes me feel warm and fuzzy, is she watches way too much TV. Obviously, she's 90, so she's home a lot. And she'll see something on the television, and she'll pick up the phone, and she'll like, I saw something in Times Square.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Yeah.
Where are you? And I'm like, I call her Mom. I'm like, Mom, I'm fine. I'm in a meeting. She says, okay, I'm just checking. You know, that's it. Call me later. And I'm thinking, that's so warm and fuzzy to know that whatever I'm doing, wherever she's doing, she just thinks that if there's something that she feels within my spatial area, she's picking up the phone.
Yeah. She wants to share.
She wants to share. She wants to check. And I'm like, that is, I mean, and trust me, she's crabby as the day is long.
Yeah,
day is long. But that makes me feel warm and fuzzy.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff I like. And that's the stuff I recognize. And that helped me to say, you know, I heard such and such and such. And I've always contacted her on her birthday or sent her a, you know, how are you doing today? And never really get that from her. What exactly do we have here? We probably have a one-sided, as my dad say, acquaintanceship.
Yes.
So that has made me examine. And like and I like that foundational friends are the ones that I have. And I have about, I'm going to count them on my hand. I'm going to say under 10 that I count as these foundational friends.
That's a lot.
Maybe less. I'm going to be honest. And my mother is one of those. My mother has become one of my foundational friends. So I'm going to count that as
that's fine. Yeah, I mean those are the cool things. So, you know, I think it's just a matter of definition is really all it is. It sounds like the Macy's Day Parade is going by.
No, Stop it! You're picking on me today. They're doing.
What is that?
They're doing, I guess, blending smoothies.
Oh, that's the blending smoothie sound.
That's the blending.
I should have known
that.
I should have known
Macy's Day Parade. First of all, that was weeks ago. But yes, and then let me tell you. Then the thing about the holidays and friendships is that's when you truly, these foundational friends, these people that make you feel. Like one of the people that I'm going to give a gift this year to is my neighborhood bodega guy, and that's because he's just so sweet.
Bodega.
He always has a nice or funny word. He's funny. Yeah. He's so funny, Ron. Yeah. He always has a funny word for me, and I go by to see him like every morning. For whatever gum, candy, or just to say hi, and I'm thinking. I have a friend who I'm supporting, which is always good. She's a baker, and she's launched her own little small business. So I said to myself, I asked her to bake me 5 little carrot cakes, like individual cakes, and put them in these little decorative bags. And I'm going to give them to like 5 neighborhood. Oh, God. Yeah, but he's one of them. But anyways, long story short, foundational friends are these people that make you feel good, and
make you feel good.
And 5 years, 50 years. That you heard.
What the hell was that?
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Would somebody fall into the blending machine?
No, I guess somebody left their latte. This is great. I love it. Oh gosh! Oh gosh! Oh no! Hold on.
Oh my God!
Oh, yes. This is funny. This is great today. The fact that I decided to come here today, this guy's he's trying to track down somebody who's left their latte. Anyway, but yes, but the reason what I'm saying about the gift is this gives you a time during this season to say to these special ones, not try to gain points like I used to do to try to buy the most ridiculous gifts to show your friend, but this is the time that you can say to these special people in your life that, hey, you're special, you're a friend, you know. I
suppose
that's kind of what I think.
There's friends come in all shapes and sizes and all types as well. So yes, but you know, the more friends you have, the more complications you're going to have. But you have to, in your mind, say, okay, but they're different kinds of friends. So I can't expect this kind of friend to interact with this kind of friend or give me the same thing as this kind of friend. I don't think it's using people. I just think it's making connections in different ways. And but I think the foundation of friendship is, you know, I used to go to Reiki sessions. I did it like for a decade. Every week,
my gosh!
Every week I would go, and I would I
can't believe you said that.
Yeah, I would lie on this table, and when I got up, I felt like my life just began again. Like I was so refreshed and stuff. So it worked for me, but I think it was psychological. But anyway. What I was taught there was that I had an aura around me, and the things that the negativity that I took in was my own fault. And don't take in the negativity, get it cleaned out every once in a while, and that's what Reiki actually is. So I kind of learned that at that point, that you can choose what's around you, and it makes a total difference as to who you are.
Well, Ron, I knew there was a reason that we were connected, and now I finally got my answer. Mm-hmm. One of my foundational friends is my old Reiki master. Mm-hmm. So I did Reiki every week for over 5 years. Mm-hmm. So we are connected. I knew it. I was like, why is it that I have this? Yes. So you are speaking to somebody who agrees 100,000% with you. And yes, every Reiki session I had, and I have a stressful job, as you know, as a publicist, as a producer, starting my own line. I had some relationship situations. My Reiki sessions, they taught me a lot. And the first thing it taught me, I'm going to tell you the last thing, one of the last things it taught me was self-love. And that was my Reiki master, and she would see me it was like a shrink almost, to be honest. Every week I would see her, and every time I told her about something, she would cleanse my energy. I'd come back with something, and she would keep telling me about loving myself, putting myself first. She kept on telling me that. And you know when somebody keeps telling you something but you never recognize? One day I was just saying goodbye to her, and she was like, I love you, love yourself, remember. And it just dawned on me. It dawned on me that I'm one of the most generous people I know, but the reason why I was very generous is because I really was wanting those 500 likes. I wanted people to like me. So I would give ridiculous gifts to people, and they were like, I barely know her. Why is she giving me $100 gift or a $500? I would give these gifts. And I realized all these things that I were doing was for people to like me. And when she finally told me, like yourself, love yourself, it floored me. And yes, that was the last lesson before she and I just became, she's still in my life, but I no longer do Reiki, but she is with me as a friend. So I see her like once a month. But yes, I agree 1,000%. So that was me. Until I learned how to self-love is the first love. Yes. It should be the first love. It should be the absolute number one foundational love that you have.
Yeah. Friends are something you surround yourself with. You don't exist for them. And that's, I guess that's the difference. Well, this has been quite a cup of coffee we had today.
So. Quite a cup of latte. This guy was like yelling in the back. I thought I was like on a Saturday Night skit on Saturday SNL. I was like, he's like, a latte. I was like, okay, great.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this has been quite a deep cup of coffee. I'm really glad.
Yeah, I tell you. Well, this is what Chit Chat is. All of a sudden, you're sitting here listening to two people chit chat, and unfortunately, you can't join in. Maybe someday you'll be able to. Who knows?
Maybe. Yes.
Yeah, who knows? But you've warmed my cockles today. Thank you very much. and I say that in a seasonal sense.
Thank you. Tis. Thank you.
Tis good. Elesia Carey, ladies and gentlemen, back again next week. So join us then. We'll talk to you then. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Fascinating as always. She joins us every single Wednesday. Hey, I'm about out of time for today, but here's the good news or bad news, depending on how you look at it. I'll be back again tomorrow with a brand new show. Any time of day, we're always here. Until then, I wish you peace. If you're interested in contacting me, maybe you have an interesting subject that you wish discussed on the program, or you wish to be interviewed because you've done something mildly interesting. You can contact me at ronvandamshow@gmail.com, RONVANDAM show@gmail.com.